Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Scyushi, and we are finally back again for the next workout video. So this is 120 days. We're actually more at like 150 days because I'm recording this video late. So for those of you that don't know, I always had this as a dream project of mine. I can remember ever since I was in my teen years, 16 or something like that. I always wondered what it would be like to work out every single day. And generally speaking, over the years, you know, I've put in the time. I've gone to the gym and worked out a lot. You know, I was a scrawny guy. I was 160 pounds, sometimes 150. I would barely eat. I would actually purposefully not eat, specifically because I didn't want to gain weight. And then I ended up learning that when you're working out, you actually want to eat so that you can put on more mass, which is called bulking. And it was just like, oh my God, I can actually eat as much as I want. And all I got to do is just work out to compensate. What? And you know, then that eventually ended up slowing down because I could never consistently do it like for every single day, not like this project. It was more that I would work out like a couple times a week, so on and so forth, and then I would end up getting out of the habit. But now, now we're sitting over 120 days of going to the gym every day, excluding, you know, some sick days. And I gotta tell you, man, it's been one hell of an experience and I absolutely love it. So if we take a quick comparison of last month, this is me last month, and you know, I'm looking pretty good, if I do say so. And then this is me this month. Do you even notice a difference? I don't know, because I don't. But if we end up looking at myself 120 days ago versus now, suddenly the differences are quite obvious. They're quite apparent that I have not only lost body fat percentage, but I've also put on more muscle and definition, which was always kind of the goal. The goal right now, the long-term goal or short-term goal, if you want to call it that, is that I'm trying to look good for my wedding in October, which is in a couple weeks. Go me. But once we end up reaching that goal, I know that I have to mentally challenge myself to find another thing to chase, because if you don't have something to chase or don't have the right reasons behind chasing after your goals, that's where they fail. And I'm speaking from experience here, because like I said, you know, I've always wanted to go to the gym every day. I just could never commit to it. I always ended up making excuses, or generally speaking would get bored or find like something else to end up preoccupying myself. So this was the switch that I needed to change in my brain. I consider going to the gym every day just as important as it is to upload videos every day. And as soon as I started doing that, it was like, click, oh, okay, that totally makes sense. I can understand that, because I've been making videos on YouTube for years. You might not know this about me, but we've actually got over 7,000 videos on the channel. That's a lot. That's a lot of videos recorded, edited. I mean, obviously a bunch of those are going to be live streams, but the majority of it, is all edited and it's all me and everything, right? Crazy to think. I don't know anyone else on this platform that has that many videos, especially dedicated to like gaming and stuff, right? I mean, beside myself here, let's get back on point. So the biggest advice that I could give you if you want to start doing a project like this is you got to curb your expectations first and foremost, because you are not going to end up getting big really fast. Unless you just start working out for the very first time, then you are going to have a huge growth spurt in your muscles and so on and so forth. But eventually when you end up hitting your plateau, that's where things become very, very slow. It becomes a very, very slow process to get past your bar, right? And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. But the other thing that you gotta do is, if you're going to the gym every day, it means that you also have to be careful not to overdo it. You have to kind of lower a lot of your workouts to compensate for the fact that you're going every day and not allowing yourself a day of rest. Now, that said, it's just become kind of a goal of mine where every time we end up hitting that 30-day mark, I start getting bored of my exercises, and so I change it up in some way, shape, or form. The last video that I put out, I deep dived into what my workouts were. So if you guys wanted to join in with all of that, you could. And generally speaking, my workouts have not really changed that much. I mean, there's maybe like one or two new workouts that were thrown in there. Maybe some of the weights are adjusted, or the way that I'm doing these exercises is different. At the end of the day, it's not enough of a change that it warrants me even addressing it in this video, because the main thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that that I have started to allow myself rest days. Now, I know that that kind of defeats the purpose of the whole working out every single day kind of thing. But here's the thing. As I'm getting closer and closer to my wedding, I'm getting more and more busy. And frankly speaking, some days I just need to take the extra time to get to editing videos and stuff because my sleep schedule is just all over the place. It always has been, and that's not a problem. But the real bottom line and reason why I decided to start testing the waters, as it were, with taking rest days is most of all because while working out every day, you're going to end up running into 3 different days. There's going to be the days where you feel mediocre and everything's fine. It's just kind of business as usual. There's the days where you feel like complete ass and you do not want to go to the gym. It's the last thing you want to do, but you go anyway. And then there's the days where you feel like the Hulk. You feel super duper powerful and you really are like, oh my God, this is easy, right? Now, during those days, I would not really change my workout very much. I wouldn't change my workout on any of these 3 days. It was just always the exact same, right? I wouldn't end up increasing the weight. I wouldn't end up changing the amount of reps or anything like that. It's like, no, you just gotta go in, hit it, get it done. Here's the thing though, is I started to want to increase the weight on those days where I felt really, really strong. But I knew that if I did, it's going to end up making the next day more difficult because I have to go every single day, right? And so the reason why I've allowed myself rest days is because now when I get that Hulk day, I allow myself to push to the limit and to see if I can end up reaching either a new personal record, a new PR, or generally speaking, I just want to end up increasing the weight for the entire workout. You know, maybe I just want to push myself a lot harder than I would normally. And it's more so the mentality of knowing, oh, well, worst case, I can take the next day off. Do I take the next day off? No, not necessarily, but it's the mentality of having that as an option that has allowed me to push past a lot of my plateaus, even if only in this month of like working out. Like I feel so much better, I feel so much stronger, and I'm gaining a lot more muscle very, very quickly, quicker than I have before, most of all just because of that mentality. And so that's kind of the big change. That's what I'm focusing on right now, most of all. And one of the things that I'm particularly proud of is that, you know, with my bench press, for example, this is an exercise that has always eluded me. I've always attempted to do it, but generally speaking, I've never been able to get it to a very high threshold because I have a genetically weak chest, or at least that's what I would always tell myself, right? But it turns out that that's actually not the case. My chest is fine. It's just that I never was doing the fundamental workouts to build a foundation to end up making the core lift a lot stronger. And so now that I've taken 120 days of doing all these different exercises that end up encapsulating tons of different muscle groups down to like the top, the middle, and the bottom of the, you know, the pec and everything like that, I've actually started to see the results. You know, even just today, I ended up benching 225 pounds, which is the highest I've ever benched before, especially considering the fact that I'm 185 pounds. That's pretty damn good for me. Because up to this point, I would barely be able to end up lifting my own body weight. And it was, again, just because I had one of those Hulk days. And I just felt like, you know what? Let's go for a PR. Let's do it. It was just for fun. It's not like I care what I've reached or whatever. And of course, your PR is just that, a personal record. The point is that I'm doing this for me. And that's the main reason why I've been able to continually do this for 120 days plus, is because I'm doing it for the right reasons, for myself. You know, I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm not doing it just to look good, although of course I want to look good. But that, I feel, is the biggest piece of advice that I can give you at the end of it all, is that you got to find the right reason to do it. The other thing too is that going to the gym every day is very therapeutic for me. That's one thing that I'm very happy to have learned over this 120-day stint, because up to this point, I knew that working out was therapeutic for me, but I didn't know how therapeutic it was for me. And it's most of all because like my mind is always going like a mile a minute. And sometimes it allows dark thoughts to end up coming in. And so going to the gym is a really good way of tricking myself into, you know, feeling a sense of accomplishment, feeling like I've actually achieved a goal. Because right now for me, as far as my mental health is concerned, I still feel extremely guilty if I don't work, if I don't put out a video, if I don't end up recording whatever, you know. It's just how I'm wired. This is what allows me to push myself further than I ever would have, and pushes me out of my comfort zone in a lot of degrees. And so now that I have the mentality in my head that working out is just as important as you know, working on videos and stuff, I'm feeling a lot less stress if I don't get around to doing YouTube stuff for the day, you know, because, oh, well, at least I worked out, right? You know, it's the little things, right? Now, obviously, me working out at the gym is not necessarily getting me paid by any means, but not like YouTube, but that's besides the point, you know. And even at the end of it all, that's not necessarily why I'm doing YouTube in the first place. I'm doing it because I love it, because I love the platform and I love making videos for you guys. And that's why I want to continue making these types of videos. I think it's going to be really cool when we end up finally hitting that 1 year mark, to see how much bigger and stronger I can get from now until the end of the year, or until we end up cycling over into the next year. I don't know, man. I hope that I look a lot stronger. But I'm not doing this to flex or anything. I'm just saying to take the little victories, because that's going to end up being very important in the long-term goal of it all. And my long-term goal with all of this is just keep working out, keep getting stronger, because I don't know,